Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be bringing you guys a 2022 cap breakdown for the Washington football team. How much cap space do they currently have? How can they create some more cap space? And where do they rank amongst other teams in terms of cap space? So we'll talk about all of that and much more in today's video. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And also go ahead and follow my Twitter, first link in the description. Now let's get right into the video. So the Washington football team has a lot of things that they need to try to get done this offseason, and a lot of that, requires some cap space, and they do have a decent amount of cap space, about $30 million. The official number is right here on, over the cap. They have $30,500,000, basically $500,000. So pretty good amount of cap space, and there is a lot of things that they can do to get even more cap space. And this is not, the official number, because some of it will carry over from the savings that they had last season. So it'll be a little bit higher than this. And, they already re-signed a few players. So this is taking into account, the David Mayo, Jordan Kay signings, which are minimal, but they are signings. And, obviously the Charles Leno signing as well. Because if we wouldn't have had, done those signings, we would be at like around $40 million in cap space. But overall, I think we're in a good cap situation. So let's look at where we ranked amongst other teams. So the Dolphins have a huge amount of cap space, $65 million. And then it's, a few teams in the high 50s. After that, we're kind of in that same category. We're in the top 10 though. We are in the top 10 in cap space. So that is pretty good, to be in that position heading into this offseason where we have a lot of moves that we can make, which would require a lot of cap space. So being 10th in cap space, amount will definitely allow them to do so. And, they're above every team in their division, I believe. Yes, the Eagles are a few spots, lower than them, but they're at $22 million. So that's a difference of over $8 million, and we have a lot of things that we can still do to get some more cap space. And then you look down at, look at this. The Cowboys are negative $21 million. They're $21 million, in debt, basically. Not in debt, but, they got to cut some players, move on from some guys, restructure deals. Definitely. There's going to be a lot of deals or, players that with the Cowboys, they're going to have to restructure the contract. Probably Amari Cooper, because he's making $20 million a year. And then, the New York Giants also, they are not in a very good cap situation as well. So it's good to see that we're in the top 10, and we could move up to, I would say, probably in that 8 range, maybe even a little bit higher, but we're not going to get really over much more than that $40 million mark. So let's go over this right here. I love using this site, Spot Track. Their cap number usually a little bit off, like I did, mess with some contracts to get it close to the amount, but they allow you to do some things, be creative. So I love that about them. So there's some things we can do to, get that cap number up. One, Landon, we could either release him or restructure his deal or ask him to take a pay cut. That's 3 options. I think they're probably going to try to keep him. And then if they do, restructuring will definitely save some cap space, but, it won't really help us that much in the future because some of the, that money will go towards the future. But they could also ask him to take a pay cut. But regardless of what happens, I don't think Landon Collins is going to be here next year with that $16.2 million cap hit. So let's say, they restructure the deal a little bit or ask him to take a pay cut, and that deal goes to, instead of 16.2, 11.2 million, something like that. That gives the Washington football team, $5 more million in cap space, puts them at $35 million in cap space. And, I don't think, some of these other deals, there's a lot of deals I think they could restructure, and that'll gain, a little bit of cap space. Like I think William Jackson could be a guy. I mean, his cap hit is pretty high. It's going to be those guys that are up there with their cap hits. I think William Jackson could get, restructured. And it's not like these guys, it's not like they don't want to get, their contract restructured, because a lot of times they get more money up front. I mean, a lot of players around the league restructure their contracts last year to help their team and even help themselves as well. So I think there's ways, let's say we get William Jackson down a couple million, something like that. And then another one that I think could definitely happen, and I can't remember one reporter, I can't remember who it was, but Eric Flowers is a guy that we could get his cap number down a little bit, something like, bring it down a couple million. I think that's definitely an option right there. And right there, you're at $40 million. Obviously, some of that money you're gonna have to save for the draft class, pay your draft picks, and then this team right now has, let's see, 30. No, okay, way more than that. They have 56 players under contract right now, but that's gonna have to go up to close to 90 players going into camp. So there's going to be a lot of small deals, but those are going to eat up, that cap space. So Washington still, though, has a decent amount of cap space to work with. If, they do trade for a big name quarterback, they're going to have, enough cap space, in my opinion. There is a salary cap, of course, but there's so many ways to manipulate the salary cap by, restructuring deals and, restructuring again. It's not like it's a cheat code, because eventually it will catch up to you, because if you restructure, you're putting some more money, you're kind of backloading the contract a little bit, and eventually it will catch up to you. But, Washington has enough cap space to get a quarterback, and, I think a middle linebacker or some of these other positions as well. Like if they trade for someone like, Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo, which I don't want to trade for Jimmy G. I would be fine with Derek Carr. I would actually like that. But if they trade for one of those guys, they both would probably get an extension, and their cap number would be a little bit lower in their first year here. So they wouldn't have to. It would probably be, even though it would be more than like $25 million a year for those guys, even though that's a lot for Jimmy G, the cap hit would probably be less than that. It would be $20 million or something like that. So they would still be able to go out, sign some guys as well. But they also, there's some guys that they're going to have to try to extend. I mean, Terry McLaurin is making, what is he making? This year he's going to be making $3 million, I guess. But, the years before he was making like $1 million or $900,000. And that cap hit, if they, extend him, it's going to go up pretty soon. And, same thing with, Deron Payne, maybe Cole Holcomb, if they want to get a deal done with him. So there's some guys that I think they should try to re-sign. But, we're in a good cap situation. I'm happy we really haven't, made some huge deals in the last few years. I mean, we've done some, solid sized deals like William Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Curtis Samuel, but none that have really hindered our future. So the biggest, way I think we can create some cap space is with Landon Collins, because that cap hit, Landon Collins was good for us last year, but let's not kid ourselves. He wasn't elite when he was playing for us. Like, even when he did switch to linebacker, he was not $16 million a year good, at least in my opinion, especially when you're playing an outside linebacker position. We already have Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis. Like, you saw when, the last half of the season, they kind of saw that, Jamin Davis, he's an outside linebacker. There's not so many times in a game where, they play two outside linebackers at the same time. So that's why Jamin Davis was not getting much playing time, because Cole Holcomb is going to play on the outside all the time. And then you combine, if Landon Collins is back, he's not a middle linebacker, and Jamin Davis, it looks like he isn't either. So it's going to be hard to get all of those three guys on the field at the same time, probably close to impossible to have them on the field at the same time, more than like 20-35% of the snaps. So something's going to have to happen there. I think those three likely will be back next year, but who knows? If Landon Collins doesn't want to take a pay cut, then, they might move on from it. And another thing is, I think he should, but will Landon Collins even agree to play the position that he was playing last year at the second half of the season? Because if he doesn't, he said for a while he doesn't like to play that position. If he says he doesn't want to play, well, I'm definitely not paying Landon Collins $16 million a year to play strong safety. I don't even know if I'm paying him like $10 or $5 million a year to play strong safety, because he was not doing good at that, but he was playing pretty well at linebacker, and I would like to have him back especially if we can get them for a little bit lower price. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.